Hi, and welcome to Cup of Tea, where we share tech tips with you to help you in your online, HyFlex, and face-to-face class. Today, we have Jessica Varnado-Swall, ESL instructor, with us, and she is going to give us some tips for using Quizlet in Canvas. So I'll let you take it away, Jessica. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. So I think Quizlet is a website that a lot of teachers have been using since before we even had Canvas. Some of you may have even used it when you were a student. It's been around for a while. But now that most of our assignments and activities are within Canvas, and many of us are still teaching fully online, or at least as a HyFlex or a web enhanced class, I think it's useful to know some more intermediate features on how to embed Quizlet sets into your Canvas page. So I'd like to share my screen. So here's an example of a page that we created for our family literacy class that we're developing right now. And here's an example of how you can embed the same Quizlet set 3 different times if you have students who may not be able to toggle between the different study modes. As you can see here, if you embed the set once, if students know how to, they can choose a different study mode and go from match, learn, test, flashcards, etc. But for this class, this is more of a high beginning class, and students may not have that digital literacy skill, and it can be difficult to kind of explain if you're not there with a student in person. So what we've chosen to do is just use 3 different study modes and just embed them one after the other. Another difficulty we have found with when we embed specifically the Learn study set is that the default size of the box, or the iframe, is a little bit too small, and students need to kind of scroll within the box. So I'll also show you a way to get around that and expand the iframe box so that students don't have to scroll within it. So for example, I have a Quizlet set right here, and to get the embed code that you can just put into the Canvas page or assignment, you can click on the ... option here and just click on embed. Now, something you'll notice here is there's a drop down with the different activity types. And every time you choose a different one, it does change the embed code here. So you could start with flashcards, for example, copy the HTML for flashcards, go into your page where you'd like to embed it. You'll need to go to the embed cloud over here, and then just paste the embed code. And it will just appear right there with a default frame size that's usually sufficient for flashcards. And you can do the same if you'd like to embed, for example, match is another one where the frame size, you can see here, it says height 500, and that's usually sufficient. It appears just fine on most screens. Where you can run into difficulties though is on the Learn set. I'll show you what it looks like when you choose the default height of 500. So we'll just embed this below this study set. And then of course, we'll need to go ahead and save the page to kind of see how it appears to the student. All right, now you can see flashcards looks fine. There's a little got it banner, which can be a little bit annoying, but most students are able to work around that. But when it comes to Learn, after I click got it, I still have to scroll, and that can be really annoying, or even, if the start learning button isn't visible, a student may not persist in doing this activity. So instead of staying with that default frame height of 500, what I recommend is go ahead and copy that HTML embed code, and then go back and we can edit again. And once it gives me the possibility to embed again. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to click on that embed tool. And I pasted the embed code, but I'm not going to click submit yet because you may not know this, but you can edit anything that's within the embed code if you know what you're changing. So this height 500 is what's the problem. And I've played around with it. I tried 600, I tried 550, but the best one that I found was 650. Oops, not that one, 650, submit. And that frame height really gave me like the best frame size so that students didn't have to do the annoying scrolling thing. All right, and if we scroll down, you can see this is the one we embedded before where we had to scroll. When you embed it at 650, there's a barely any scrolling here, and they can still start learning right away here. So that is something you can do if you have really beginning level learners or learners who are really struggling or their first time on Canvas, so that they don't have to choose their study mode. You can just embed it multiple times with the different study sets. So I hope that helps. There's also other ways you can play around with the embed code, but that was the one that made the biggest difference for me.
Yeah, and it's not too difficult for us to just make that change when we paste the embed code in Canvas. Exactly. So yeah, thank you for those tips, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Okay, see you later. Thank you.
Bye-bye.